Ah, God, a lot just went down right now. Like a lot just went down. I don't know what's going on. This stream has to hold. This stream must hold. This stream must hold. I don't care whatever happens right now. This stream must hold. Like, bro, just being frustrated. Like, God. A lot of things just went down. Like I said, a lot just went down. Trying to, Jesus Christ. Oh God. Man. 20 minutes ago. Do I need to edit this and make it? Anyways, let's proceed. I'm tired. I'm tired, man. Let's just proceed with this. Oh, I'm so pained. I'm so pained. Like I'm seriously pained. So pained. You want to understand what is paining me? Man. All right. Enough of the whole blabbing. Let's just stream. Okay. Let's have a good time here. Right, chat. Let's go. So, like I said, I'm introducing something new to the stream, right? I'm introducing something new to the stream. Unlike our regular live coding challenge or live coding sections, this time, yes, I'm actually doing like a an episode, right? It's called the Dev Fundamentals. Dev Fundamentals, no D. Dev Fundamentals, and basically it is going to be us, me, on the stream breaking down concepts every developer use daily, but don't really understand, right? So that's basically what I'm going to be doing on this stream. I'm going to be breaking down those concepts that developers like what we're going to be doing on this episode or this series, right? And it's quite exciting for me, right? Because I'm going to be showing a lot of things, right? So, yes, on tonight's episode, you know what? The title alone excites me. They're fundamentals, and we're going to be breaking down concepts that every developers use but don't understand. Yeah, yeah. So, to kick it off, yeah, we're going to be going with the first section, and on this particular episode, this particular episode, yes, we're going to be covering a lot of things. Yes, we're going to be looking at things like what is an API. I know you've heard of an API before. If you are, familiar with the internet, right? You must have heard API. So we're going to be talking about API. What is API? But for both developers and the non-developers, right? We're also going to be looking at the most common API security mistakes that developers make. Yes. Yes. So we're going to be looking at the most common API security mistakes that developers make in production, most especially in production. Yes. And then we're also going to be looking at 2FA, that is two factor authentication. We're going to look at how it works under the hood, not just what it does. We know what it does, yes. Hold on. I need to be sure of something. Something is going on. Oh, shoot. Oh, shoot, 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 shoot. Okay, yes, so yes. So we're going to look at 2FA, we're going to look at the JWT, right? We're going to look at JWT. We're also going to be looking at, for JWT tokens, yes, JWT tokens, we're going to be looking at what they do, actually, what they do. We are reviewing some some secret type shit here. Then we're going to look at coming just a minute. Need to do something. So I don't know what's going on. All right, so we're going to also look at the. We're also going to look at the difference between authentication and authorization. We're going to look at authentication and authorization. Then we're also going to be looking at HTTPS, right? HTTPS. Why is it not enough? Why is HTTPS not enough for a web page or a website or whatever? Because we know that when you are accessing a site, as part of the security measures that we say, we suggest or we advise people to look out for is a website must have a HTTPS to prove that is secure. Not just that, right? It doesn't. It's not only HTTPS, right? There are other things that comes with this. I mean, hackers are becoming smart. Web pages can be built, websites can be built, use HTTPS, buy an actual domain and host it using HTTPS, right? You feel like it's secure. You saw HTTPS, and then you can still get hacked and all that. Yeah, so your system can still be vulnerable to cyber attacks. Yes. So this is basically what we're going to be exploring on this stream, right? And I'm pretty much excited. I'm pretty much excited. So, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to share my screen real quick so we dive into it. So we can dive into it ASAP, 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 ASAP. Access stage. There you go. All right. So, like I said, we're going to be looking at this interesting topic. It's an interesting topic to me, actually. It's an interesting topic to me. Just give me a minute. I need to do something. Let's get some traffic. Right. So, um, first of all, we're going to be looking at. Let me just go ahead and open up what we're going to be doing here today. Right. So we're going to go to Sky Draw. Right. This is an interesting topic. Oh, you remember this? Yes, we do remember this. So we move. So on today's topic, we're going to be looking at what we call. Oh no, I don't like this. I like a better shape. No, no, no. Wait, why is the edges not curved? Why are the edges not curved properly? Oh God. All right. So let me proceed. So we're going to be looking at why is this board like that? Well, anyways, let's do what? Excuse me. What is going on? What is going on? What? I don't even know what's going on with this guy. I don't know what's going on with this guy. Let's try it again. Jesus Christ. Hell, man. What is the problem, man? What is it? What is it? Damn. Bro. I don't see this now, man. Oh, bro. This stuff is so annoying. What is API? We're going to look at what is API. We're going to look at. I just want to list out the content that we're going to be working with. Yes. Common API security mistakes and fraud. That's production. Prod means production. Then we're also going to look at 2FA. We're going to look at JWT tokens. Then we're going to look at difference. We're going to look at then we'll now look at HTTP. Right. So this is basically what we're going to be looking at. Yes. To start. Yes. So all right. So this is like the content that we're going to be looking at. Yes. I don't know. I can't make them bullet points, but then it's fine. So I'm going to move this guy. Let's do this. And so I'm basically going to be using this box to work with. So yeah, yes. We're excited. First one, we're going to be looking at what is API and what is API. What is API? What is API? Yes, that's the first thing. Now, API means application programming interface. That is the meaning of API. All right, so I'm going to duplicate this and I'm going to bring it here. I'm going to say API application. I'm not supposed to do this, but then um, application programming interface. Right, so that's API. API means application programming interface. Right, and I'm just going to shit Control Z, Control Z. Oh my God, Control Z, Control Z. Ah, bro, what's the problem? I see a lot of things he's doing me this night. I don't even understand. So this is an API. API means application programming interface. All right. Now, what does this mean? Application programming interface. What does it mean basically? Now, let me give you like a concept. Okay, let me give you like a concept. You think of a waiter, or think of API as a waiter in a restaurant, as a waiter in a restaurant, right? And then you walk into the restaurant. You are the client or you're the customer. You walk into the restaurant, and you don't know where the kitchen is, but you want to make an order, but you don't know where the kitchen is, right? So the API is the waiter, right? There is a waiter in the restaurant. You walk into the restaurant. You don't know where the kitchen is. You want to place an order, but you don't know where the kitchen is. You don't know where the order is coming from, though. But you are at the front, where the order is being made, right, to place an order, right? And then the kitchen is where your order is being prepared, which is the server. Take that as a server. You're the client. The kitchen is the server, right? Now, the client, the server is the kitchen. Now, you tell, okay, take, yes, like we said, you walk into a restaurant, you sit down, the waiter comes to you, right? You have no idea where the kitchen is. You have no idea where their structure is, wherever they're preparing their meal. It's none of your business. You know that you walked into a restaurant because you want to order for food or a meal, right? Then you tell the waiter, which in this case is the API, that, oh, I need you to give me salad with roasted chicken, right? I need a salad with roasted chicken. Now, the waiter goes back to the kitchen, picks up the order, and brings the order to you. Right. That is the concept. So API is the guy, is the waiter. You are the client. The kitchen is the server. You send API a message. The API goes to the server, picks it up, checks for the order that you ordered for, pick up the order, and bring it to you. Simple. Right. So that is basically what the API is. So I'm just going to demonstrate, I'm just going to give like a demonstration as to, I think I already have one that I prepared down, right? But I'm just going to do that. I'm going to do this, Control D, I'm going to do this. I need this round. This edge is not round enough for me. It's not round enough for me. Round. There is no rounding. All right, let's proceed. So we have this, which is you, right? Then we have the API, which is the waiter, right? Then we have the server, which is the kitchen, right? Um, I think I'm going to change the concept. Then we have the last guy. It's supposed to be a last guy. So this is what I'm thinking in my head. The the okay okay. I think I get the concept now. Yeah, I'm going to explain it better because the reason why it's four, right, is that you have the client, we have the API, and then we have the server, and then we have the database, right? You are the client, you walk into the restaurant, the waiter comes to you, what do you want? Or probably the waiter is waiting for you to call on them. You tell the waiter, oh, please come here. The waiter comes to you, and you tell the waiter, do you have chicken with salad? Yes. Say, oh, okay, yes, we do. Then the waiter goes to the server, place your order, right? And tell them that, oh, they need chicken and salad. Right. Then they go into the pots or wherever the fridge or wherever the order is, wherever the chicken and the salad is. Pick it up, give it to the waiter brings it to you. Easy. So the place they are bringing it out from is the database. So you communicate to the waiter communicates to the server communicates to the database brings it back, gives it services to the server, the API serves it to the server then renders it to the API displays it to you. Easy. So let's go into it. Let's go into it real quick. So I wish there was a way I could copy this thing. I wish there was a way I could copy this thing. coming. I'm trying to see keyboard. Let me see. I think I copied something. I don't know what it. Nah, nah. You know what? Let me just go ahead and do this. So I have the I have clients. Wondering why this thing is not reduced. Bro, look, this stuff just wants to stress me this evening, but it won't. It won't stress me. All right, so we have the client, right? Client, which is like, for example, it's an app, right? We have the client, then we have the oh god, a lot of things is going wrong this night. Oh god, how am I clicking Control S? Why now? Why? Move this thing, yo, bro. All of you want to stress me. Then we have the API, right? Then again, we duplicate this, and we have this is the server, right? And then we have the last guy, which is the database. All right. So yes, so we have you come list your other, and then the other goes from the API to the server. Let's give it a space. Let's give it a space, bro. This is not funny. Like for real, this stuff is not funny. Right. So here, this is what's happening. Oh my god. Please. What is going on? Can't I make this box small? Ah, God. Imagine, it's even two. Yo, I need to take a deep breath. A deep breath in because this stuff is not going to piss me off. Honestly, it won't piss me off. So we have the so this is called the request. Yes, why can't I just have this? Like why can't I just have that? Like really, it's not difficult to ask for, man. Why am I having all this? Please, it's stressing me. I don't like rough work. Thank you. So I'm just going to expand this, yes? I'm just going to put this here. So this is a server. This is a client rather, right? Thank you. Then we can extend this. Move it to here. This is the API, which is the guy in the middle, right? We'll move this, extend it. Then we have the server, right? Then we do the same. Then we now have the database, right? So yes, this is the flow. So we have the client. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna group this so I can be able to move them easily together. This, this, and this, this, and this, 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 and this, and this, and move it so much. So we can have space to extend that to be reasonable. Move this and move this back a little bit. Move this here. And let's increase this, the height. Yes. All right. So yes. So this is it. I'm just going to, let's ungroup this. So we'll do so ungroup with Shift Control Z is G because I need this. I need this. So this is you making a request to the API. When you visit the website for the first time, probably an e-commerce store, right? You want to check for browse for say shoes, right? You send a request to the API. I need shoe, right? The API does what? The API goes into the server, checks if it's there. This is called a query. It queries the server that, oh, someone needs a clothes. Do we have anything like clothes? The server then goes into the database to do what? To read, all right, if there is, right? And that's it. And if there is, it returns it back to you. So it's just very simple, right? So API is like your guy. That is your everyday guy on on every website that involves ordering or making a request, right? Yes, whatever website that requires making a request or ordering, your API is your guy. That's your guy to go to, right? You send a request to the API. The API goes to the server, queries the server that, oh, is this available? The server checks the database, reads if it's available, renders that, sends that back to the API. The API renders that to you. Easy, right? So we're going to do like a live demo on this. We're going to do like a test. We're going to look for a public endpoint. We're going to look for like a public API. So there are different things. There's an API, then there's endpoints, right? API is the main guy. Endpoints are like those small guys inside it that you send errands, right? So, for example, if you have, okay, I think I need to do this. It's already becoming this while like my streams, I'll tell you that this is going to be very easy. Like fast, we just do it and go, bro. By the time we start seeing that there are a lot of things involved, right? So I'm just going to bring this guy down here because I'm going to divide them into sub parts, right? So I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do this, right? So I'm going to reduce this because I want to do something. Right, so I'm going to duplicate this. I'm going to move this here. I'm going to point it here and use it to bring it here. Awesome. Then I'm going to duplicate it. I'm going to do the same thing for this guy, right? And awesome. And I'm going to do the same thing for that guy. Right. So yes, and this guy is called what we call. Oh my God. What's this? Yes, so this guy is called. Okay, I think I know what I'm doing. Just going to reduce this. Yes, Then we're going to duplicate this and bring it here, make it small. If we can, do Control Shift, Control G. Let's ungroup that, and you can be able to control this. That's why we're ungrouping it. You see that? So yes. If I now ungroup it, I won't be able to control it the way I just did. Right. So I'm going to move this guy, and I'm going to call this endpoints. Right. So this is an endpoint. These are endpoints. API has endpoints. Right. So I'm going to move this up. Shit. Okay. And yes. So we have the endpoints. Endpoint one, endpoint two, endpoint three. I'm just going to do this. These endpoints might specialize on, say, kids wear, for example, right? Kids wear. Then this particular endpoint will specialize on um, female wears, right? I'm telling you how these endpoints are going to be working. So I need to ungroup this. Yes, let's ungroup this. So I can be able to fit this in. And these are men's wear, right? So now, when you go to a website and you want to search for, or you open Google and you type for, not Google, let's not use Google because Google is too broad for this, right? So I'm going to expand this so that you can be able to see clearly, right? So I think this looks solid. Yes. So so sorry, I'm coming, please. All right. So yes, endpoints. Yes. So when you open your website, say for example a commerce store, right? And let's demonstrate. I love to demonstrate these things. So let's go into, for example, say the popular website here would say Jumia. Jumia, for example, Jumia.com is a popular shopping site, right? So let's say Jumia.com, right? While Jumia is loading, Jumia is checking for security and blah 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 blah. Can you please show me cloth leg so I can select? Hey God. Okay, yeah, awesome. So I'm going to click on this. Yes, so we're on Jumia, right? And let's say, for example, we want to filter something. Say, go to fashion, right? Now, when you click on fashion, let's check what's going on. Now, you see what happens here. It gets all the products that are under fashion category. Jumia now, and you said fashion. What it did was to, this is an endpoint in an API, right? Right? An endpoint in an API. So endpoints are like sub tags or sub agents to an API, right? We call them modules, right? So they are sub agents to an API. So you can call a specific endpoint to give you a specific result. That's basically it. So you come, I was the client in this case. I visited Jumia as a website, and then I told the API that, oh, can you show me all the products under fashion, right? What it did was it went to the server, right? It checked, it told the server that, oh, we need we need a product, a customer needs a product for fashion, all the products under the fashion. Now the server then goes to the database, right? Checks for those products under server fashion category, right? Then the reason it went to products under fashion category is because we called the fashion endpoint, right? So if I'm going to be doing this, I'm going to say that this guy, I'm going to duplicate this, and then I'm going to move this guy here, right? I move this guy here. I'm going to restructure this guy to point it here, right? And I'm going to move it here, and then I'm going to, I want to adjust this properly, right? Right. So we send, this API has different endpoints. They have fashion endpoints that specialize on fashion categories, right? They have female wears and then men wears, right? Endpoints inside fashion. We can categorize this as a separate endpoint, but it's going to be referencing fashion categories, right? Then we have the server pointing to this. So when you make a request, I'm going to make a request now. What the API did was, server, do we have any category called or any clothing under fashion category? This guy hits the category endpoint, right? You already know where it is being stored. So I'm just going to move this here rather. Yes. Right? So it already knows that, oh, it should be in the database. When the database, query the database then checked all the categories for that fashion, returns it to you. That's what just happened here, right? And then if we go ahead to streamline this more, we can see, you see this, men's clothing. Now this is an endpoint. Now this endpoint is going to do what? It's going to return all the categories or all the clothings under or clothing categorized for men. You can see. So pants, we have shirts, we have hoodies, jeans, and blah 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 blah. These are endpoints, right? If I go ahead and hit this, this is shirts. It's going to return all the shirts and all the shirts. This, that is an endpoint, right? The reason these guys are present, which I call them the sub agents, the reason they are present is to make the load on your database or on your website lesser, right? The load time. Imagine these guys, Jumia, having to pack all these shirts into just this fashion category, for example. That means by the time you hit the endpoint, it's going to do a lot of work, fetching a lot of things. Yeah, fetching a lot of things, and then before it returns that to you. Now that slows down the website. It makes the website to lag. Yes, those are the reasons, right? So I just demonstrated just like a rough schedule, a rough demonstration, right, of what explaining what API is basically. Explaining what API is basically, yes. So that's what I just did. Then we move to the next stage. I don't want to spend so much time on this stream. That's why I'm moving really fast. I'm tired, man. I'm tired. Like, I've got other things to do. So I'm just going to do this and I'm going to bring this down. But let's not bring it down. Let's move it to the side. Oh, let's bring it down. Let's bring it down. Hey, God. Remind me. All right. So we've been able to explain what an API is. What's going on? Oh, is this the smallest it can go? Are you joking? Oh, oh, shoot. Wait, what? Okay. So I think I'm just going to group all of this together so I can see it. But you get the jerk, yes. That's basically what an API is. Then we're going to be going into API security, right? We're going to look at the API security mistakes, right? So we're going to look at API security mistakes that most people make, right? Okay, I don't know if you'll be wondering how does an API look like, or how do you build an API? Okay, so you need to be a backend engineer. You have to build an APIs, right? So API contains endpoints, contains modules that contains endpoints. Yes. For example, I'm going to show you one example. Let me just show you right in my code base, my example, so that you can see one. So I'm going to be working on one right now. So, where is it? Okay, yeah, I found it. So yes, this guy. So I'm going to come here again. All right. I'm not going to show you the API, but I'm going to show you the endpoints. I'm going to show you rather how I define the APIs, right? So this is what I do when I'm doing my work. I have a file called a constant file. Now on the constant file is where I am listing all the API endpoints, right, and modules, right, and then I also have the APIs listed there, where I then have my actual API URL in my env, right, in my .env. Like I said, we don't expose some certain things to um, the public. It's very important that you like different APIs here. So I have the Connect API, I have Event API, and I have Auth API, right? Now, this is for authentication. This is for events. It's another application on its own. So we're making a call to this platform, right? We're making a call to this endpoint to this API rather to return some certain things. Then we have the Connect API. This is another application on its own that we're making a call to get some results from them, right? So, and then I go ahead to destructure. It's called destructuring. I go ahead to destructure the URLs that I'm going to be hitting. Now, I told you that API contains modules and then their endpoints, right? It's the same thing I do in my code base. I create them as modules and endpoints. Now we have contact module. This is a module, right? Now this module contains one endpoint that I'm just going to be using, or that is going to be useful to me, that I feel like I just need, right? Because all the endpoints you see here, you see the trail. This is how long it is. These things are all endpoints, modules and endpoints that we're making calls to. Crazy. Now imagine the Jumia side that we just checked out, how it's going to be looking like. Yeah. So, like I said, this is a module and this is an endpoint. It's called a leave endpoint. I just named it leave. Reason I named it leave, I would have just on my code base or inside my code when I'm writing or when I'm making a call to this endpoint, I'll just write all these things. No, I don't like doing this because it's stressful. Because I probably might forget the this. I don't want to be always be coming back here to to always copy and go and use, right? I just want to be able to access this using this. I'm going to show you how, right? So note that these are APIs, different APIs. These are different modules in each of these APIs. Then these are leave, right? This is an endpoint. I'm so sorry. These are an points destructured, right? So go on and on and on and on and on and on and on. These are all these are modules and endpoints. And for how I assess them, right? I'm just going to show you like a quick demo on how I assess them. So for example, if I'm to assess one of those endpoints, for example, the auth, remember we have auth API, right, that has an endpoint. So let's see. Let's not use get user info. Let's say create get user, right? Sorry, this guy here, user info is calling. Coming, I'm going to find it. Auth.user, info.user, and this is coming from. This is a lot. Trust me, it's a lot. Like I destructure my codes a lot, right? And there is this guy called type.cs. It's just how the request the properties that the endpoint is expecting, right? Those are the things that I listed out. Um, I listed out, yes. So I'm just going to find one that would be should be easy to explain. Hold on, give me a minute. These files. Okay, let's check files tab. Teams. Yo. Okay, I think I have them inside my services. So let me just go to my services. Yes. So my services, for example, let's look for save contacts. Okay, save contacts. Yes, save contacts. Or artisan. Let's do artisan because I think you saw artisan somewhere. Yeah. So inside the artisan, right, we have base URL. And then we have the Connect API. Connect API is basically calling this guy. You see that? You see where he brought you to? He brought you to the constant file. So we're telling me that this particular endpoint that we're going to be calling is inside this API, right? The Connect API. That's basically what it is, right? Where am I? Going to close this first. Take me to Artisan. Yes. And then now look at this. This is how I assess my API, my endpoints rather. I will tell it to go to the base. The base has been defined. The base has been assigned to the API. This is the API that I'm telling it to go into. Constant base means I'm assigning the base to this API, right? I'm taking that name base and I'm assigning it to the API. So constant base is equal to this. I've assigned it to the API, like I said. So now This base now I'm calling, I'm trying to go inside it to do something, to get what we call requirements, right? And remember that requirement is an endpoint. And these are where I defined all the URLs. So I'm going to click on this so you can see constant URLs. I'm assigning all the thing inside here, everything. If I close this now, you see, just hold on. You see that everything inside there has been assigned to URL. So all I just have to do is call the URL, and then inside the URL, I'm going to find what I'm looking for, right? Inside the URL, find artisan module. This is a module. Now, if you go into artisan module, you see all the endpoints. These are endpoints. These are endpoints. And each of these endpoints has their specific work that they're doing, right? And then inside that artisan, I'm saying call the requirement endpoints because that's what we're going to be getting. So what we're doing here is this is for registration profile. We're registering someone, right? So we're going to get the requirement from the database, use that to uh, check if the user actually filled the form or completed the section. Whatever we're sending to the database need to be what the backend expects. So that's the requirement. So this is an endpoint. You see that I highlighted it. This is an endpoint. So that is basically um, that is basically API, right? Oh shit! Kizo just raided this stream. Thank you, Kizo. Thank you, thank you. Right. So yes, like I was saying, yes. So that's basically API explained. I just explained that like in a nutshell, so I don't have to do so much again. Then now let's look at the API security, the common security mistakes that most developers make, right? And these mistake, yes, they show up in production apps. Production, yes, and it's crazy when when how people do that, right? It's crazy. So most times, yes, even experienced um, developers do the same mistake, do this mistake that we're going to be looking at right now, right? Most times, experienced developer make this mistake, and it's the ranking is really high, and it causes a lot of cyber attacks and real cyber breaches, right? The real breaches on the system, right? And that is something that we're going to actually talk about because I don't know. It has. I don't feel like it's being spoken about enough. Yes, I don't feel like it's being spoken about enough. So, the first one we're going to be looking at is let's do this. Let's do this. Shift Control G, and I'm going to do this. I'm going to bring this down. I'm going to bring this down. You know what? I don't want to use this guy. This guy is pissing me off. Take delete. Let's use this guy. Yep. Bring him down here, and I'm going to make it so visible for you to see. The first one that is very common is what I call broken object level authorization. It is called, not me calling it, that's what it's called, broken object authorization. So that is BORLA, broken object level authorization. I'm just going to write it. So that's this looks very funny. There's a Yoruba name called Bola. Bola! Bola! Yay! So this is called Bola. Yes, in case you forget, just call it Bola. Remember Bola? Yes, Bola. Crazy, crazy. Oh my god. So we call it what? Broken object level authorization. So I'm just supposed to bracket this guy. Yes, so broken. Wait, what? How dare you? Broken object authorization. That is the first one. I'm going to explain each of these guys, right? Ah, God, how do I love this structuring. I don't know why is always doing me like that. Then we have the next one. Yes, this one is called rate limiting. No late rate limiting. This is the second one. This is another mistake. I personally made this mistake. Yes, when I built my learning management system, a network, right? Rather, not just a learning management system. It's a network, right? That I built. I made this mistake of not doing this, not adding this limiting, and it cost me. It cost me. It cost me an attack on my system, right? Someone was constantly brute forcing my platform, right? They were constantly brute forcing it, and I'm like, yo, it's because I was able to find out because I was constantly checking. When I build applications, I usually run like a daily check on them, right? And crazy thing is that I did not check this platform like 3 days. Until that day, I checked it and I noticed that, oh, wait, what? Someone has created like 4 to 5 different accounts with a particular format almost at the same time because I have like an audit log that logs the time for every action, right? And I'm like, who's this? And then on the spot, he came in again. Like he came in like I'm like, whoa, yo, no. So I had to start um, looking for a security measure to actually stop that from happening because it can actually crash your site. It will crash your server, basically. When someone constantly brute forces your platform like that, it causes like a crash on the server, right? And that's not good. So we have this. The first one is broken object level authorization, which is Bola. I still find that so funny. Oh my god. Jesus. I still find that funny. Yes, so Bola and no rate limiting. Then we have the third one. We have another one. This one is called exposing sensitive data. Very, very crazy. Exposing sensitive data in 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 response. Yes, I'm going to show you this. Like exposing sensitive data in response. Because what's this? Yes, exposing this in response. I'm going to move this here. I'm going to just show the hierarchy, right? And then the last but not the least, we have what I call it the API key. Why do I keep saying I call it? Why? API key exposed in front end. Yes, this is another one. This is another one. API keys exposed in front end. Right. So don't worry, I'm going to look at this. I'm going to like arrange this properly. Right. But this is like this is going to be like a very long stream because I've not even gotten into the 2FA part, right? Then we have the next one. Trust me, there are many. I'm just going to list them out. We have the next one, which is called the weak validation. Yes, weak validation. This. Then I also have verbose error message. Right. This. I'm taking my time to actually list these things. It's crazy because it is very important that you know these things. Actually, I don't have strengths. Then the most popular one, no HTTPS enforcement. Okay, I think we have all the six that I'm aware of now. So The reason I'm not going to be putting these guys inside the box is because there's no need. There's no need. There's no need. Yes, so we have all of them here. I'm just going to use the arrow to point to them properly, right? So that for 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 organization purposes, yes. So just going to do this and this. I'm going to just move it down. There's no time for all this. So I'm going to do D. I'm going to move this guy here, and I'm going to point it here. I'm going to do the same thing for this guy, pointing to this guy. So I'm going to do this, do that, bring it down here, bring it down here, and then I'm going to bring this out down. For each of them, let's do this. Oh my god, that is so long. Yo, okay. I'm going to find a way to make it easy. Yes. Okay. So awesome. Yes, I think this sorts it. Yes, this sorts it. And then the last guy, this guy. So, gosh, I'm loving this. I'm loving this. Aside from this guy that is annoying me. All right. So we have these are the security mistakes that most developers do make. Like I said, I myself am guilty of this. I made this mistake once, but I learned, and I don't make those mistakes again. Right. So the first one, yes, I'm going to be talking about the first one. The first one is Bola. Bola. I don't know why. Bola. Bola means. Oh my god. Bola, yes, broken object level authorization. Broken object level of authorization. In this case, yes, um, we know that API checks for vulnerability, right? It checks for um, um, oh, did I say API? The number one API vulnerability is this Bola guy, right? It's among the top 10. This broken objects level authorization, right? Now, say you have an endpoint that is supposed to check if you are logged in. Let's take it. There's an endpoint that is supposed to check if you are logged in, but this endpoint doesn't check if it actually belongs to you, or if the like there's a role that is supposed to be assigned, right? If it actually belongs to you or not. Say for example, you hit an endpoint, you hit an endpoint. I'm going to do this, right? Because I'm loving this. API slash user slash 123. You hit this endpoint, right? And this endpoint returns that um, returns that you are logged in. So you are supposed to say 123 right? This endpoint returns that, oh, you are logged in. Anybody can log in to this endpoint. Anybody can basically just log in, and the person is not the owner of the website, right? So that is very bad. I'm going to do something. So if if a user logs into your website, right, and then say for example now, as I went to Jumia, I'm not yet, okay. I'm still logged in. Oh, it's because I'm logged in. Yeah, so I'm logged in, for example, and then or I'm not logged in, and then I decide to log in. If these guys don't have this broken object level authorization that we're talking about, right? If I go to this website and I log in, and then I click on order, it gives me any order. Like it gives me the order without um others that are not meant to be for me. So for a website, you can say that when somebody log in, or if somebody is not logged in, they should not be able to see these products. But this person actually did not log in, but they made a request to your other endpoint, and this order came out. They just visited the other page and it came out. Crazy. That's a very dangerous game to play, right? I come into your website and I visit API slash, or I hit like we've explained about the order, right? And I say I want to get this particular order, this order 1, 2, 3, 4. It just gives it to me. It doesn't check if I'm logged in or not. It doesn't check if I'm a user on the platform or not. Because we've restricted that, we've said that, oh, any user that is not logged in should not be able to access order 1, 2, 3, 4. But I'm not logged in. And I was able to get order 1, 2, 3, 4. That's a broken level of object authorization that we're talking about, right? That's a broken level object authorization that we're talking about. Right, yeah. So that's the broken level object authorization that we're talking about, right? So your fix should be this: always check if this record of the user exists, if the record of the user exists, if this person is actually logged in or not, right? And then don't return it. Or if an order belongs to somebody else, it shouldn't display for someone else. I don't know if you get. If an order belongs to somebody else, it shouldn't display to somebody else, right? Use that. Use that to always tell your system to always check if this order does not belong to this person. Don't show this person this order. Yes, that's how you fix a broken object level authorization issue. That's it. So I'm not just going to dive into it too much. So you can do your own research on that and have your way in. Yes. So now rate limiting. Rate limiting is the second guy that we're talking about here. Rate limiting. This guy. Rate limiting, like I explained to you, is like it's like when an attacker carry an hammer and hit it on your login endpoint. Oh my god. Ah. That's like when an attacker takes an hammer and then keeps hitting it on your login endpoint 1,000 times, 1,000 times, and then he just keeps hitting it. That can crash your server, like I told you. It can crash your server. If the person is able to get access, right? They can just decide to crash your database, like just mess up your server. So rate limiting is actually very important, and it's I feel like it's the most common attack that every website experience. Someone can just sit down. This is a very high. I'm telling you something. This is a very high security risk that you need to actually take into consideration, right? When you're building a sub solution or a solution for a business or for yourself, right? Rate limiting should always be present. Add how many times someone needs to try to log in, and then there should be like a cooldown. It's called a cooldown. Have you ever tried to log into a website 4 times, and then the next time you try it, it tells you that you've tried this attempt, you've attempted to log in 4 times, you have to wait for the next 60 seconds. That is basically rate limiting, right? You are restricting someone from having to hit a particular endpoint so many times to have to crash your server, right? This protects your database, your users, right? That is in your database or your products, whatever your inventory, whatever you have going on there. So, so far you have a website that requires taking order or people having to interact with an API, people having to log in. Please include rate limiting, and the reasonable amount of trial one can do is 5 times. I feel like 5 times is too much. My own, I added 3 times. If you try to log in 3 times, you have to wait the next 60 minutes. I'm not even giving you 15 minutes, 60. That's approximately, okay, I think I'm doing 30 seconds. 30 seconds. I think I'm doing 30 seconds, right? Or I think, is it 1 hour? I can't tell, right? I can't really remember right now. Well, that's it, right? So it depends on you how many attempts you want people to try to log in. How many minutes they have to wait for before they try to log in again. It helps protect your system. It helps protect your system, right? If you feel like you can't write the code, you can decide to use like a library called express rate limits. It's called express rate limits, right? So it's a library. You can install this and use that to implement on your website, right? So express rate limiting, basically. Then we have the third one, which is exposing sensitive data in responses. Well, I can't emphasize on this one a lot, but it's important that you don't do that, right? For example, if you have an endpoint called the user endpoint, which is this guy, other endpoint, and this is like a particular order, and this particular order is supposed to return like just few information, or say for example, yes, few information for this other endpoint, this particular order. Say product name, the product price, product name and the product price. What else? Just basic information, just few, right? You now then go ahead and return everything that I don't even want the user to see. So if you are, for example, you have these endpoints, usually users. So you have users endpoints. You want to query all the users in your database. You want to return all the users in your database. Then when you query, God, this sleep. When you query all the users in your database, you now will go ahead and say, I want to see a particular user, one user, first user. Now, for this first user, you're not going to return their name, their full name, their email, their password, their 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 balance, their whatever it is that is supposed to be sensitive, right? You go ahead and return everything. That's that is exposing sensitive data in response. So instead of me now being able to see just what I'm supposed to see, you now go ahead and return everything. And this usually happen if one does not use what we call DTO, right? What is a DTO? Find it now. Oh, oh God. Need to be sure this is still on. DTO means data transfer what? Objects. Data transfer objects. It's an object. This object is designed to aggregate and transport data between different software applications, subsystems, layers, and processes. Right. Just use DTO to return only what people need to see. Don't do more than that. Return what people need to see. For example, I want to check my profile. I should be able to see my name, my email, my phone number. I can be able to update those. I don't need to see my user ID. I don't need to see my access token. I don't need to see my actual password. I don't need to see my. You should get return only the basic information. You can use that. You can do that using the DTO, right? So that's for example, if I check this close, what I expect this to return to me is basic information. It's just the information I need to know. This, the price, if it's in stock or not, where I can actually order them, the this, just basic. This is just about these products, right? And that's it. So always return information that you need. Don't return what you don't need. Doesn't make any sense. Then we have API key exposed in front end. This is the most common. This is the most common. You see what I did here inside my code base where I told you that I this is an API key. Rather, this is an endpoint, an API rather. This is an API, right? Now this API, I did not need to expose the URL. See how I conceived it. Get the system can just get it from the env. It's that easy. So I'm saying process.env, check env for a to check for something that we assigned this name, the URL that we assigned this name, and then use it to do whatever we want it to do. That's it. Some some developers make the mistake of having to go and um, release their API keys on production. Release their API keys on production. Very sensitive API keys on production. That is very dangerous. That is very, very dangerous. So don't do this. The only thing you can do is secret keys should live only on your backend, not your front end. Your front end only see what the backend wants it to has made available for it to see. Right? Very important. Then we have weak validation. Weak validation. Um, you are trusting whatever the client sends without checking the length, the format, if there is an open, if there is an error somewhere, right? You don't check for these things. For example, someone wants to add create an account. They are adding admin 123 as email on their email section. Admin 123 on their email section, and then they now go ahead to say on their password they will now put um, admin123 at gmail.com. Already it has been mismatched. The first one was supposed to be on the first one was supposed to be on the first column, on the first text area, but you put that in the second one, and then where the password is supposed to be, you put the password in the first one. Makes no sense to you. And you are not validating these things, you are not checking it. This opens up an SQL injection, a SQL injection, right? Your system can be injected with um, um, malware, right? And this, And this causes a problem for you. You can lose your entire database for this. Right? And lose your entire database for this. Then we move to the next one. The next one is we've done API keys, we've done weak validation, we have the pose error message. This one. So for example, I think in cybersecurity it's called user enumeration. Right? If someone is trying to log in with their email and password, and then probably they make a mistake with their email, and then instead of you to display an appropriate message, you say the email is incorrect. Now you've given the hacker or the attacker an insight of, oh, okay, this email is not correct. Let's try this another one, right? Let's try another one called use another name again. Does that make sense? Right. So don't expose um use a better message. So you could say something like return like a generic message. You could say something like email and password does not exist. Email and password not found. User not found with this email and password. Right? You don't have to specify which one. You don't have to say the email is correct, the password, try and enter your password again. You're already giving the attacker an insight that, oh, okay, that email is correct. Let's start guessing the password. And without rate limiting, they'll keep guessing until they get it right. So please, we don't do that. Then we have the no HTTPS enforcement, allowing API to call plain HTTP means that credentials and tokens travel in plain text, and this can be read by anybody. If you are allowing your API to make calls or to call over plain HTTP, this means that both users' credentials and tokens, they all travel in plain text, and it is only readable to anyone the who can track the same network. Can be able to do that. So it is bad to accept requests from HTTP. We already know that's like the regular. If the website is not HTTPS, don't go in. Also, for the fix, force HTTPS only. Redirect or reject any HTTP request specifically. Right. Always use HTTPS. It's very important. Yes, I think that's it for this this stream. I'm just going to um, I'm just going to end this stream now because I think sleep is already coming to my eyes, and I don't like when I feel sleepy like that. Right, sleep is already coming to my eyes. So I'm going to end the stream. I'm going to end the stream so I can um, you know right. So on our next stream, I said we're going to be looking at two-factor authentication, right? On that two-factor authentication is going to be interesting, and I need you to actually tune in, chat, tune in. Honestly, we're going to be looking at the four common types the four common type of hacks that actually happens, right? Um, we're going to be looking at SMS OTP. We're going to be looking at email OTP, authenticator, all those 2FAs that you know of. Yes, we're going to be doing that. And then we'll also quickly run through the JWT tokens, right? The JWT tokens as well. That we are going to use that to, explain whatever we've done again in this particular stream, right? And then we still have more to do. We have the authorization and the HTTPS. So this is going to be like I said, it's a series, right? It's a series, and we've been able to identify what an API is, and we've been also been able to identify the errors, uh, the common mistakes that have been made in um, by developers. Okay, so I knew something was wrong. Right, yes. So we've been able to identify what what an define what an API is, understand the concepts of API, and then we've also been able to look at the common security mistakes that both developers and um, senior devs guys do, junior devs and senior dev guys do. Right. So on our next stream, we're going to be talking about um, we're going to be talking about um, we're going to be talking about the other things that I've mentioned. Right. All right, guys. Peace and love. Peace and love. Don't play. Okay, I just said that.